The 1-inch punch is actually a method of Chinese Kung Fu of generating power.
1-inch punch is a catchy term made up by Bruce Lee, which it actually is correct, but really there's all kinds of short power. I mean, you can use a short power palm strike, you can use, a half-inch punch or 3-inch punch.
And some people call them a trick. It could be a trick, it could be a motion, but it does the damage for what it is. It's pretty powerful.
With your wrist joint is the best way to start usually, and just flicking it, giving yourself like a flat target, and you use the 3 bottom knuckles here, and you just pop forward. Take your time, no point in rushing it. Make sure that your elbow's in your center, and just slowly over time, just keep working on a soft pad or a pad of beans, and usually having a training partner, someone who holds something for you, is a good judge for how much power you're putting out, and you just keep doing it until you feel like you've got a decent amount of control. There's a certain amount of time that wrist strengthening takes place in your training too. That's a big part of it. Has to do with training the form.
The traditional way mostly go into the internal aspects, the centering of the qi. Okay, Chinese medicine have this concept of qi circulation in the body, and by developing the internal power, the internal qi, you develop the 1-inch punch. One is first through the practice of breathing or qi meditation, through breathing visualization, developing power centers at certain parts of the body. That's the internal approach. Yeah. The external approach is more muscular and body alignment, power base, torque generation.
A lot of fight starts with finger pointing and a lot of that stuff, and from that finger pointing, which is the closest to someone's solar plex, maybe a face, you can generate that 1-inch punch that will actually be your winning card.
So let's say the person, we attack and the person kind of intercepts my punch. Boom, boom. That's that 1-inch punch comes in without pulling back. That's from a combatic standpoint. If you hit someone with a 1-inch punch, maybe on the surface you break their ribs. Internally, you might shock their internal system.
You can rupture someone's spleen. You can damage their liver. You can bruise someone's heart. Something wrong with one of your vertebrae, and someone strikes you really hard, the power is going to try to find an easier way out, and it'll go through that to the injury point. So, in extreme cases, guys have been known to strike someone in the front and then it injures their back.
You're hitting his vulnerable point. That's also the key too. But obviously, if you hit this weakest man at the strongest point, you're not gonna do any damage because he's got muscle protection.
如果敵人離你嘅身體只係3寸，你點對付佢？抱住頭匿埋，以為用拳打穿佢。
In the Chinese movies, the 1-inch punch has always been showcased very well. However, Kill Bill Volume 2, the way that it was portrayed was okay, but it just visually it was not pleasing.
Kill Bill, the way that the 1-inch punch was portrayed was taking your skin off your knuckle, and this is how it is. But it's not about that. It's the body mass that moves. It is not the callus on your knuckles that does the damage.
I would continue to teach the 1-inch punch as part of my curriculum, if the student get that far.
If you learn how to apply shortest distance with the most powerful impact that you can generate, there's a pleasure, because there's a huge discovery about 1-inch movement. If you look at it in that context, it's got invaluable lessons. But if you look at it as a one-trick pony, that's it. That's the end of that show.
I think there's been a slight dip in all martial arts in general. Because you think 150, 200 years ago, people were training this system because that's all they had. That was their livelihood. They trained a lot harder than they do today. People tend to be a little bit lazier.
Maybe that's why there's not that much interest in martial arts, because the kids will just play video games all night long. Why come and train and sweat and, be painful, right?
You got to think we've been doing basically the same stuff until about 100 years ago, until the Industrial Revolution. That changed everything. People are sitting in front of computers, and we haven't had time to catch up with that yet. That's a radical change. So I think the importance of getting back in touch with your body is very high and has continued to become up more on the priority list for a lot of people. So I expect the martial arts to take I think they're already taking an upswing back up, whether because there's systems out there that are almost being lost, and people don't want that to go away. So I think they're going to get better.
The consequence of 1-inch punch that happened in Long Beach, for me at least, is it's amazing, and I think it keeps opening doors, and I think that would be the future of 1-inch movement or 1-inch punch.